Night sky over Salem, and the town of Kerantin was black as coal, thick clouds choking the stars. A cold wind swept through the crooked streets, carrying whispers that slithered into every home and heart.
Come, come, my herald, my familiar, my queen. Feels good to be home.
Her presence wasn't a shadow or a storm. It was something deeper, a creeping rot in the bones of the town itself. People began to change. Eyes once bright turned glassy and vacant, smiles twisted into sneers dripping with malice. Children spoke in tongues long forgotten, elders whispered of fire and blood, and in the forest's edge the Kerantin pulsed with a dark heartbeat, calling her nearer. Corey and Tracy moved through Salem like ghosts, watching the town unravel. The Queen's power swept through walls, twisting the streets into a maze of fear and despair. But the townsfolk were not helpless. Led by the oldest families, the descendants of those who had once trapped her in the pit, the people gathered beneath the ancient hollow tree in the town square. Flames licked the night sky as they carved symbols of binding into the earth, chanting prayers older than memory. The pit awaited, their cruel prison made of molten coal and unquenchable fire, where the Queen had been sealed centuries ago. But she was no longer the same.
You thought you could bury me in fire? I am the root and the ruin, and I will rise once again.
The battle was brutal. Flames clashed with shadow. Screams tore through the night. The ground cracked open beneath the Queen's feet, and the pit yawned wide, hungry. With a final desperate chant, the townsfolk pushed her back, chains of fire and iron wrapping around her like a serpent. She was dragged screaming into the pit, sealed beneath burning coal and molten rock. But as the flames died down and silence fell, Corey knew this was no true victory. The Queen's eyes, burning deep beneath the fire, promised a return. And the forest was still hungry. The pit of fire was sealed. The Queen's screams had faded beneath the molten coal, her power chained deep beneath Salem's ancient hollow tree. The townsfolk had breathed a tentative sigh of relief. But in the shadows, the true danger was only awakening. Cheese prowled the outskirts of the forest, eyes gleaming with a terrible purpose. The curse inside him had deepened, binding him not only to the Kerantin, but to the Queen's will. He was no longer just a familiar. He was the key. In whispered shadows, the Titans gathered, massive and silent, their forms twisting with the forest's dark magic. They had not been defeated, only delayed. Cheese, with his fractured soul, was their bridge between the worlds. Through pain and darkness, Cheese channeled the Queen's will, weaving shadowing spells into the roots beneath Salem. Each whispered word, each clawed mark in the earth, chipped away at the chains of fire and iron. One by one, the Titans began to stir, their power feeding on the weakening Cheese's half-human mind, wrestled with the darkness clawing at his heart. But the Queen's voice was relentless, a siren song promising freedom and dominion. On the night the hollow tree bled shadow, Cheese stood at its base, eyes blazing with both defiance and surrender. With a guttural roar, the roots cracked open the pit, and the chains of fire hissed and broke. From the molten depths, the Queen emerged once more, freer, stronger, hungrier.
And beside her, Cheese, no longer a pawn but a herald of ruin, prepared to unleash the forest's wrath on Salem and Kerantin once again. Queen, you are more than you know. A great battle awaits us, but first we will seek revenge on those who oppose me.
Flames erupted from the heart of Salem, crawling up the walls and swallowing the streets in a furious blaze. The air was thick with smoke and screams, a hellish symphony of terror that echoed through every shattered window.
The Queen had risen, bells ringing, people screaming and running for their lives. The Queen, now this will be fun. Captain, all right men, ready your weapons.
Her form was a nightmare woven from shadows and fire, a towering figure crowned with thorns that burned like coal, eyes glowing like twin suns of hatred. Her voice, a rasping growl, shattered the silence as she strode through the town, leaving ruin in her wake. Men and women fled blindly, but her wrath was unstoppable. She reached with clawed hands, shredding flesh from bone with savage ease. Children's screams pierced the night as she tore through their homes, their hope. The streets ran red with the ashes and blood of the victims of those who was brutally victimized by her power. Corey and Tracy raced through the chaos, hearts pounding, desperately trying to reach those they could save. But the Queen's fury was a storm they could barely withstand. Every step she took warped the earth beneath her feet. Buildings crumbled, trees exploded into fire. Her gnashing of teeth tore through the air, and those caught in her gaze felt their souls unravel, their bodies wither. The very air seemed to scream in agony. And yet, amidst the carnage, Corey's eyes burned with fierce resolve. Amidst the flames and ruin, Cheese moved like a ghost, silent, swift, and deadly. No longer just the familiar, nor fully human, nor beast, he was the Queen's shadow-made flesh. His eyes burned with a cold fire, reflecting the inferno engulfing Salem. But within them flickered a storm of torment and hunger. Wherever the Queen's wrath tore through the streets, Cheese followed, striking unseen fear from the shadows. He was the whisper in the wind that silenced screams, the claw that dragged victims into the dark, the lingering chill after the flames. His powers had grown, twisted by the Queen's magic. He could slip through walls, vanish in plain sight, and sow despair with a glance. But Cheese's role was more than destruction. He was her herald, the one who prepared the way for the Queen's rebirth and ultimate dominion. In moments between shadows, he glimpsed at his old self, the boy named Chester, lost beneath the curse. The fragments of loyalty to Corey sparked brief hesitation, but the Queen's voice drowned them out.
You are mine, familiar. Your pain is power. Your struggle is strength.
And so Cheese became both weapon and warning, a living nightmare stalking the Kerantin and Salem. A reminder that in darkness, betrayal can wear the face of a friend. As the scene fades to black, Tracy takes Corey to see the priest of Hallow Grace. They ride toward Hallow's Grace, the priest of Hallow Grace. The Kerantin stood silent beneath a bruised sky, its twisted silhouette looming like a sentinel of despair. Corey and Tracy approached cautiously, the weight of the journal heavy in Corey's hands. Inside, the air was thick with old magic, and something else.
Father Malachi,
the woods speak of you, of the curse that seeps from the roots of this place, the Queen, the Titans, and the familiar bound by blood.
I told him, we need your help. The Queen burns Salem she looks to, overtaking the town, and she aims to overtake Kerantin as well. Cheese is lost to her, my head hung low. The Titans march. What can we do?
This is a war fought in shadow and flame. The Kerantin is the battleground, and your bloodline is the key.
this is the cross of hollow grace. It has sealed spirits, broken curses, and held back darkness for centuries. But the Queen's power is ancient, twisted by forest and flame. To confront her, you must first confront the darkness within. The part of you tied to this place and its blood will need more than faith, will need sacrifice.
Prepare yourselves. The battle comes soon.
Outside, the wind howled, carrying the distant echoes of fire and screams. The fight for Salem was far from over. The wind outside the Kerantin howled like a grieving spirit. Inside, time seemed to slow.
There's something I haven't told you. I'm not just a priest. I was once one of the Hollow Watchers, sworn to guard the veil between this world and the one the Queen was banished from. Before the pit, before Salem even had a name, we were called to hold the gate closed. The Kerantin was once our sanctuary, a place where light and dark met in fragile balance, but something broke the pact centuries ago. Your bloodline, Corey, and now the house twists with that broken promise.
And what about Tracy? She's more than she's told me.
I'm Nephilim, half angel. My mother fell in love with a mortal, paid for it with her wings. The queen fears my blood, but she also wants it.
She wants to corrupt it. Your angelic essence is the only thing that can seal the Titans forever. If you fall, Tracy, she wins. The forest becomes her throne. Then I won't fall. You'll need to summon the Seraph Flame, the holy fire hidden within the roots of the Kerantin. It can only be called by one born of both worlds, and it's guarded by the last Seraph who died in the witch ground.
That's why the queen fears you.
She doesn't fear me, she wants to consume me.
And you must face the truth in the basement. Beneath the Kerantin lies your family's altar, the place where the first pact was sealed.
The final battle begins not in the forest, but under this house. The floorboards creaked beneath Corey's boots as he followed Father Malachi down the narrow spiral staircase hidden behind the fireplace. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, each step echoing like a heartbeat trapped in stone. The walls pulsed faintly, as though the house itself remembered. At the bottom lay a black door, carved from ash wood, etched with sigils that shimmered when Corey approached. His blood called to it.
Only you can open it. It's tied to your family's oath.
Corey hesitated. His fingers trembled as he pressed them to the center of the sigil. It flared with light, then cracked open like a wound. The door groaned as it swung wide, revealing a vast underground chamber lit only by flickering torches. The walls were carved bone white, lined with the skeletal remains of animals and people. In the center stood a stone altar, blackened by age and ash. And behind it, an ancient mural.
Your family made her strong, fed her hunger. When they tried to break the pact, she cursed the bloodline.
That's why she wants me and Chester. That's why Cheese is tied to all of this.
She was promised 2 souls of power. One tied to darkness, Chester, and one tied to light, you.
You were born in my debt, child. Your soul was whispered into existence by my hand. Come willingly, or I will drag you screaming.
We must cleanse this place. If we don't, her power will surge through it and she'll never be stopped.
Then tell me how to burn it.
You come seeking the flame, to stop the queen, to save Salem, to save what's left of me. Then you must burn too.
Suddenly, light exploded from the broken altar, and Tracy was consumed in flame, not searing, but searing truth. Visions burst in her mind, the queen whispering to her fallen mother, her own birth, wrapped in both halo and thorn, a future where her wings were black and she ruled beside the queen. She screamed, but held her ground. And when the fire receded, she stood unchanged, except her eyes now glowed gold, and in her chest, a flicker of pure flame.
You are worthy.
The altar cracked open, and rising from its center, wrapped in chains of light, was the seraph flame, a dagger-like spear of holy fire, ancient and alive. Tracy reached out. The moment her hand closed around it, her body lifted from the ground, radiant and burning. Above, the clouds cracked, and a single beam of golden light pierced the witch ground. She had summoned it. Now came the war. The sky over Salem churned like ink and water, bleeding clouds into flame. Buildings smoldered, shadows stretched unnaturally. And in the heart of the queen's ruin, Cheese crouched upon the crumbled rooftop of the old church, his claws digging into charred stone. His ears twitched. The world had gone still, then throbbed. A sharp, radiant pain shot through his chest, where no heart should have beat. He hissed, stumbling backward as golden light shimmered on the horizon, far past the forest's skeletal edge. It was distant, but it knew him.
And it called him by a name he had long buried, Chester. He staggered, howling into the scorched air as the queen's presence wrapped around his body like a vice. Her voice slithered through his mind.
Ignore it. It lies. It sings of chains. But you are free. You are mine.
But the pain grew. That light, it was Tracy. He saw her in his mind, eyes glowing, flame in hand, walking the witch ground as if it feared her now. He roared and leapt from the rooftop, his twisted feline form warping with rage. His back cracked, his claws stretched. Something inside him tore open. Memories spilled into his brain like hot wax. Corey's laughter by the riverside. The day they found the Kerantin. All curiosity and innocence. His own scream when the witches dragged him into the root cellar below. He blinked. For just a moment, Chester stood within the monster.
Tears welled, but they boiled away in the queen's fire. Kill them before they reach the altar, she whispered. Burn the forest. Let the titans taste ash.
The sky screamed overhead as a titan stirred, sensing Tracy's seraph flame.
Cheese snarled, fangs dripping shadow. His loyalty fractured, twisted, broken beyond return. Yet somewhere, something flickered. A soul, buried but not gone. I'll find you, he muttered, voice a broken rasp, before you find me. And with that, the queen's familiar vanished into the burning wind, heading straight for the heart of the forest.